September 22nd is the 1 year anniversary of Play Cheat Ball. This little hand woven, beautiful rattan ball that the object of the game is to work together to keep the ball up. So imagine the game we all played as kids with a balloon keepy uppy. This is a modern day version of that brings strangers together to become friends. And on the weekend, a crew from Salt Spring Island and we had anywhere between 6 and 8 of us per show. Went over to Vancouver and we did 3 days at the Great Outdoors Comedy Festival and we had a Chi Ball activation zone. And so this little sermon, this lesson here is about the lessons learned in niching. So this is completely relatable to everybody going through the signature workshop training right now as we're all dabbling with our niches. And so hopefully through my lessons that I'm going to share right now about niching over the last year with Play Chi Ball, y'all can have some permission and learn some lessons as well. So there's a big difference between theory and reality. So for example, with Play Chi Ball, the reason we went to the comedy festivals last year, day one of Play Chi Ball, we picked up our very first inventory in Vancouver. We heard that there was a comedy festival and we crashed the gates. We did our first ever flash mob on day one of Play Chi Ball. And we played with people. We made our first sales in the lineup and we had a blast. And so the theory was comedy audiences love to have fun. They must be playful people if they like to have fun because they like to laugh, etc. The reality of the weekend, though, is that comedy festival crowds are there to party hard. They're there to drink, they're there to look cool, and it's not cool if you are a city goer to like jump in a circle and play. So that was a really interesting lesson for us with Play Chibo. And we've had a whole bunch of these types of theories proven wrong or theories proven right this year. And so for all of us that are doing the niching work right now, if you don't feel crystal clear, there's a really good reason. It's because theories about our niche are just guesses until we've fully tested them. And so over the last year, with Play Chibo, we have done flash mobs, we've gone into schools, we've done paid festivals, we've done some free festivals, we've done street rallies, we've played at the ferry because I live on a little island, so you have to get on a ferry boat to get here. We've done YouTube videos, we've done a whole lot of stuff. And through the whole process, we've really learned a lot about how do you approach strangers, how do you engage people, and and how do you spot somebody, what we call them, they're chi curious, is you see people walking by a rally of chi ball happening, you see that they're interested, but they're shy to walk up and ask, and so we pull them into the circle, or we walk over and we hit them a ball, and then they start playing, they realize that they can actually do this thing. So at the comedy festival, we had this whole experience where it was 3 days, 4 shows, 40,000 people. We got a lot of like really awesome interactions with people. Typically, when we play at the market, we have a big chi ball zone. So Salt Spring has one of the biggest artisanal markets in the Pacific Northwest, North America. It's beautiful. Tons of people, thousands of people come every Saturday to be at this thing, and we have a chi ball zone out in the park. And so typically we just play. We just have a crew, everybody's playing, people come in, they join, they borrow a ball, they play with their family, etc. So day one, we just kind of went with our regular strategy. Like we got our zone, we're just gonna play as a crew, and people will come join. And that did not lead to engagements. What happened is people got in the gates, they rushed to find a spot because thousands of people are trying to get towards the front with their lawn chairs and their blankets. And so it kind of felt a little bit flat until we learned quickly of like, oh, people aren't stopping. So then we tried to engage them, but by then a lot of people went by. We did obviously get engagements and stuff like that, but it wasn't what we thought we would have on day one. Day two, there was over 14,000 people in. They had to move our booth. We ended up getting put in the worst spot possible, the back corner. People walked right past us to get to their seats, and all the action was on the far side of this massive, massive field. And so we ended up abandoning our booth. We left one person at the booth to do some sales and engagements with folks that were wandering, but we ended up like going where the crowds were. That led to terrible conversions, but it did lead to a whole bunch of people playing. Everybody had fun, and a whole bunch of those people came back the next day to buy balls. Day three, we're like, man, we got 2 shows today. It was raining and miserable when we were setting up. We're like, okay, we got to make the most of this day. And ultimately, I'm gonna just like say we were having a blast. Like, regardless of sales and conversions, we were there to play, to dance, and to listen to great comedians do their thing. And so it was fun regardless. And this was kind of like our annual celebration of like year one. This is our anniversary. Whatever happens, happens. We're here. We paid the money. We're doing the thing. But we ended up taking a really great location without permission on the last day. Our business model, our marketing strategy is flash mobs. And so we actually went over to the Great Outdoors Comedy Festival where everybody gets a selfie. We went right by the sign. We set up our court. Nobody told us not to. And we came up with the idea of we had $100 bill in our pocket and we're like, let's do a chi ball challenge. So competitive chi ball, you stand 15 feet apart from each other and you rally to 100 hits. You're racing other teams to 100 hits. Ball hits the ground, you lose 10 points. If it bounces once, you keep the rally alive, you lose 5. So as people are coming in, we had some of our crew starting a circle. So we had 3 guys who were looking to recruit people to join a circle. We had a couple of the ladies rallying over at our booth. And then Mike, my business partner, and I were like, I found my inner carny and we created a carnival experience.
Americanating for this $100 bill when I say play chi ball. 3, 2, 1, play chi ball.
We know that hitting it 100 times on your first ever try playing chi ball is a very, very hard thing to do from 15 feet apart. And so we would approach people like, do you want to win this $100 bill playing chi ball? And people would step up and they would find their partner, they would rally, they would lose, and then we would give them 2 more shots to not win the $100, but to win a free ball. And we ended up filling like 3 or 4 pages of paper full of email address. We got tons of people to play. Most of the people that played, more than half the people that ended up doing the challenge, stuck around and joined a circle to play, and they ended up buying a ball that day. And it was just like one after the other. And it was so much fun. We got such high engagement. We had so many conversations. Once they said, yes, I want to win the $100 bill, I got to teach them what Chi Ball was, tell them about the rules, the culture, that this whole game is about making friends with strangers, that the purpose is to keep it up where we're all on the same team, we're all working together. And we got to test all of these pitches and ways of telling the story of what Play Chi Ball is and what it stands for. And so the $100 thing was like our lead magnet. It was a big enough thing to stop people in the tracks on their race to go get their seat to be like, that sounds fun. I want to do this, or we're going to go get our seat and we'll be right back. And so we got so many people to come do it. And the biggest piece was for engagement and conversion is people needed to touch the ball. Just like all of you, people need to touch your work. They need to be touched by your work. And the signature workshop is one of the best ways for people to get that experience with you. Like the $100 bill is like, here's the free workshop that's going to solve this problem. Here's the $100 bill. Come play with us. And your workshop is giving them like the full interaction engagement of like, we get to feel this and see if it's for me or not. And so, the best parts of the weekend, we're just watching people light up and have fun and like see their desire to look cool and the armor that comes up from trying to look cool just totally dissolve and watch their inner kids come out and play. It was just absolutely awesome. And we have an unbelievable amount of footage. So we're creating a documentary about year one of making friends with strangers and the Chi Ball revolution. And so that's coming out in December, and we got so much like great content for that. But the clarity that we've received. So we did this and we're now really clear that our niche is not places and people that are drinking alcohol. It's just not a fit for the vibe that we're bringing. We went down to South by Southwest, one of the biggest conference festivals in the whole planet, with people who are there to have fun. We sold a whole bunch of balls. We played with a ton of people, but the vibe wasn't the right container for us to like really get to play with our people. We did some other paid festivals this year, and the greatest successes, the places where we absolutely crushed it in both sales and engagement, were places that families and youth were hanging out. So free markets where there was no entry to pay, free festivals where there was no entry to pay, free lineups, so like ferry lineups. We always sell at the ferry lineups. We just play in the parking lot and out while everybody's waiting for ferry. all of a sudden we got a big crowd of people playing cheap ball and all the parents have to buy balls. And so for us as we go forward, we now know because we've done all these experiments, the things we're going to say yes to and the things we're going to say no to. And one of the desires we had was like, let's get into retail stores. But we're actually going to pull our balls from retail stores because it doesn't give people the actual essence of the game. We want the game to spread chi baller to chi baller, ball to chi baller. We want people to understand the essence before they receive their ball so they can feel like the purpose of the game, make friends with strangers, and we're all in this together. And we wouldn't have learned these lessons if we hadn't invested some money and tested some of these theories and gone to some of these events. And so the big lessons for all of us here are you can theorize about your niche forever, but clarity comes from real world experience, real experiments, real failures, and real interactions with people. That's the fastest way to learn. And so instead of waiting 5 years and spinning our wheels in our heads, is how do we get feedback quicker from the people that we think are our audience? Because engagement is everything. It leads to the conversations, the experiments lead to the conversions. And so it's conversations, it's experiments, it's content, it's getting your offers in front of the people that you think are the right people so you can see if they really are in alignment. And so the permission, I was a terrible student. I was a failure in school. And so I'm not afraid of failing because I've seen that failure leads me to success eventually. And so, for those of us that wanted to get straight A's in school and might have an internal fear or block around failing and giving yourself permission to fail and trying to be perfect, I'm going to say abandon that strategy in your life, specifically with your business here, and give yourself permission to be okay with the process of learning and growing as you fail and test theories out. Because you're going to learn and improve so much faster that way, and you'll feel a lot less anxiety about the whole process of learning and discovery that you're going through right now. And so, just to like kind of recap some of these pieces, is like when we just stood around on day one, it didn't work very great. When we got in people's faces and we gave them the opportunity to engage with us, the energy was there. We got way more engagement. People walked away so much more stoked. We had, at the end of the day, when the comedy was over, people walked back past our booth. We were all playing. And like, this was the best part of my whole day. And they're watching comedians and there's music and they're drinking and they're like, Chi Ball was it. Like, we came for this. And so don't wait. The if you build it, they will come thing is a myth. It was from a movie. It doesn't work in marketing and business. So, in order to find your true audience, like the people that are really aligned, we have to test more. We have to get in front of people. And then we test, we learn, refine, we grow. It does not matter if 40,000 people see our product or see our service or see us or hear us on a podcast if it's the wrong people or our message is off, right? Doesn't matter if we have 1 million people who watch us or see us or experience us if the message is off and if it's the wrong people. And the only way we find out if it's the right people and the message is in alignment is if we do all the necessary testing. That's how I taught 500 meditation workshops in less than 3 years. That's how I've taught over 1,000 webinars over the last 10 years is I just keep showing up and doing it and refining and improving, and which makes me feel more and more comfortable as I go. And so your signature workshop acts as this sorting hat. People are going to sign up and they'll show up. And some of the people are going to be like, oh my God, I've been waiting for you. And other people are going to be like, well, you're not for me. We sent out the surveys last week to a bunch of folks and we had a whole bunch of responses. And, there was 3 out of 30 something that responded that were like, I don't like your style. And I'm like, that's great. I want you to find the people that are your style. I want you to find the people who are going to help you up your mountain that you're trying to climb. And if it's not me, I would rather you know that straight out of the gate because you had 3 taste tests of my style and my philosophy on how to grow a business than you pay me money and realize after the fact that, like, I'm actually not the guy for you. And we all want that. Nobody wants to give refunds. Nobody wants people to walk away unhappy. So I have three self-reflection questions for all of you after all of this. Number one is to map your experiments. So right now you're going through the process, you're niching, you're really trying to get that clear before you map out your signature workshop and start to look for hubs and all that sort of stuff. So what are three theories? I'm going to share all these in the chat as well. So what are three niche theories you have about your audience? So for us, we thought like South by Southwest was perfect. We thought comedy goers would want to have fun and play. Those were those were theories that we had. We thought going to festivals was a great idea. What we found was once people pay this big expensive ticket to go to a festival, they don't really want to spend as much more money because they have to pay for food, they have to pay for all these things, and maybe a cheap ball is just not in their budget. But the free things, we're at a market where they're at a thing that's free to come to, they're there to spend some money. So for each of those, write down one small real world experiment you could run this month while you're going through your niching process. Just tiny experiments. It could be a little piece of content, could be a little video, it could be if you are on social media, it could be asking people questions that are following you. So that's the first exercise. Number two, the fail faster reflection. So think about one place in your business where you've been theorizing or stuck in your head. And what's the smallest possible step you could take to test that theory? So that we get out of our head, we get out into the real world, we flash the $100 bill, we pull people into a conversation, and then we can find out faster if we're in alignment or out of alignment. And then the last one is like an engagement audit. So look at your current offers and content. Where are you waiting for people to come, like we did on day one? And where could you get out into the crowd like we did on day two and three, where you're actually putting the effort forward to stop people in their tracks and engage them? Obviously, we're on the internet here. So some of you could, depending on your work, you could actually get out into the world. You could find real world events to go to. You could find out ways that you could get out into the world and do it. For others, we're talking about internet traffic, internet conversations. And so write down some concrete ways that you could actively create more engagement this month. And so just a few final little thoughts is your audience, your clients, your customers, your email list growth, they're not found in your head. They're found out in the wild. And engagement is the laboratory where theories live or die. And so we need to test our theories. We need our theories to either fail or succeed in order for us to know. Because clarity is not coming from thinking, it's coming from playing, it's coming from getting people to experience us. I mean, that is why, we're doing the signature workshop stuff right now, is because that is going to be your way of doing what we did on day three, which is to actually get in front of people, to share your point of view, to give them an experience of your magic so that they know whether this is a right fit or wrong fit, whether you're the one they've been waiting for to climb the mountain they're trying to climb, or whether they're going to move on to the next mountain range and find somebody else. And all those things are good things. Failure is a good thing. And if we can fail quicker and fail in these like micro ways that don't cost us a fortune and don't spend a year, then we're just going to evolve a lot quicker, which is going to lead to us figuring out right alignment, which leads to us generating more revenue and making a bigger difference sooner. So hopefully, my comedy festival lessons, our lessons from Play Chi Ball over 1 year of growth, really helps you. We have grown Play Chi Ball to over 1,100 balls sold in less than a year. We've done some paid events, but we haven't done paid advertising. And we sell through playing with people. And that's been an absolute blast for me. It's been the most satisfying product in 21 years of entrepreneurship that I have ever sold in my whole life, because I know every single ball that we send out into the wild is going to spread joy. It's going to help strangers connect with strangers and hopefully become friends. It's going to lead to joy and movement and health and vitality and all the good things. And so I want to find the right fit audiences. I want to find out where our people are, and we've done some amazing experiments this year. And I know we're in our reflections on the way home yesterday is like we now have a whole bunch of experience, lived experience that we're now going to refine. And as we map out what year two is going to look like, it's going to be even better. That's the sermon. So, any questions, reflections, thoughts? Anything land for you there?
Play T-ball! Play T-ball!
Play T-ball! Play T-ball!
Do video? I'm so sorry. That's the word. No, use that.
Join the revolution. Play Chi-ball. Anywhere, with anyone, at any time.